and welcome to the Circle of Love and Light. I'm your host, Dr. Jane Mountrose, and today I'm here with my partner and co-director of Awakenings Institute, the nonprofit organization that we founded actually years ago that is devoted to creating a more loving world. And his name is Phillip Mountrose. So welcome, Phillip. This week we're exploring our most really important and profound spiritual resources as we delve into the power of spiritual healing. It's really the place where Phillip and I started looking at spirituality, I think, the way that we do now. So it's been a wonderful journey for us. We'll be talking about that. And we're going to discuss what it means to us. And we'll also discuss the role spiritual energy plays in our personal lives, in our journey of awakening, and in our collective reality, in actually evolving and growing together into a different way of being in the world. So as light workers, spiritual healers, and such, the kind of people who are here, we're always discovering more tools and resources for transforming our lives and the lives of those we serve. And what we're finding is that we can approach it in ways that are more magical and mystical than we ever imagined possible up until now. And with three decades of experience in the field, we've learned and developed spiritual healing techniques that are so fast and effective, we could hardly believe it ourselves at times. We held some of them back like, I'm not sure about this. But many, many decades later, we found actually they're just as effective as we thought. So it's wonderful. And we've also learned how to bring spiritual healing or spirituality fully into form to produce fast and effective results in our physical lives, which is important. Before we begin, I want, as always, to thank you for being with us. In fact, I need to put up the chat so I can see who's here. There's Babs. Hi, Babs. And we want to thank you for being sources of light for the world. It's really important. We're here every week to light up our own lives, to heal and to grow and to help to create a better world. So please feel free to comment. We'd love to know who you are, where you're from, and what you're thinking and sensing. So one more thing before we actually start our discussion, which we always do, generally, I should say, is if you can close your eyes where you are. We just want to take a few breaths with the intention of bringing our energy together. So as we inhale, imagine breathing in the most beautiful love and light from the world that you can imagine. Just feeling so nurtured and loved, and releasing any tension or stress you notice as you exhale. Just a few beautiful breaths. They bring us more into our bodies in the moment, so we can be present, fully present to the experience that we're going to have. Wonderful. And this other being is Buddy. Look, people see you. There's Buddy, our good friend. And I want to turn to you now, Phillip, and ask you to share a bit about your perspective and experience on the power of spiritual healing.
Yes, great being here, Jane, and in the circle. We're in the circle, on the circle, within the circle. And spiritual healing has been so powerful and pervasive and permeated my life once I learned and studied it with Jane over the decades. And it really is the depth and the profundity, because we are spiritual beings having a human experience. So at the bottom, at the source, is the spirit, and where we have a disconnect, we need healing, and that applies to you, me, and 8 other billion people on Earth. So everyone is in the process of healing for balancing and learning and growing. Evolution, it's part of the journey. It's built into it. And sometimes it can be quite miraculous. There's so many ways to do spiritual healing. We'll share a few that we've developed that are very precise and powerful and can be quick. I was just thinking one of just doing spiritual healing in one of our holistic healing and coaching program, which is coming up again, that we offer. We do past life regression as part of one of the many modalities in spiritual healing. And for many years, I suffered kind of a dizziness, a vertigo, and I didn't know why. And some of these things, if you first of all, you have to look at where it's coming from, and many times you can find it within this lifetime, although it might be from birth. But that's possible with regression and opening up to examination. But in this case, it was not anything in this life. I don't know why I got seasick on boats or on merry-go-rounds. I got real dizzy. And it's just kind of like something would happen. And when these things happen, it's like something triggers you, you know? Like you're going along and you hear something, you smell something, something affects your senses, inner or outer senses, and you're off. You're weak, you're imbalanced. In this case, I was dizzy. So reviewing my mind, I came across in my mind in this regression a captain on a ship, and the ship was going down at sea, and he couldn't do anything about it. He felt very helpless in the waves and everything, and being crashing. And so once I did that and recognized that and just did sort of a releasing, a lot of it is recognizing, accepting, and releasing it, although there are other energy modalities you can use too to facilitate. After that, I never had dizziness. It was gone.
Right. Yeah. 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 It's amazing how that can happen.
Yeah. So, I mean, that was proof to me how powerful it is. And we've seen many age regressions and past life regressions with our clients and our students over the years, and it works. And I mean, you can argue with how exact it is, you know, how much of it's part of your imagination. To me, it seems real, and it's based on some kind of factual evidence of me as a different person in another lifetime.
Right.
Because that makes the most, actually, that makes the most sense. It's Occam's razor. I mean, it makes the most sense that that would be me. It would be something directly me rather than out of nowhere inventing something that I had no idea of before I started that is exactly right to heal me. I mean, the most reasonable explanation is it's that spiritual healing from another life.
Right. And that's a good example of the kinds of things that can be preventing us from living fully. So because of that, Philip had a limitation on his experience of reality because of the dizziness. And after it, that limitation was gone. So more of him was able to come through into his present life. And that I think, if you look at it as the primary benefit, is that we want to bring those parts of ourselves back so that we can be ourselves, because we're not fully ourselves when those things are happening. And they're happening to pretty much all of us at one time or another. And some of us, it's happening like most of the time. There's something unconscious that's affecting them. I want to say hi to Nikki. Hi, Nikki and Sharon, and welcome. It's wonderful to see both of you. And it brings up something that to me has been very profound. I think just the thought of it becomes more profound over time as I understand it more deeply. If you look at things from a holistic perspective, which we feel is the most objective, physical, emotional, mental, spiritual, our wholeness, everything is connected and everything has meaning. So in a case like Philip's, where the dizziness was occurring, it did mean something. There was something happening behind it that was relevant. And that's even true in our external reality. If our external reality is a mess, it's when you might want to question, well, if that's the case, what's happening in my inner world that's causing my external world to be a mess? Oh, I see Gretchen's here. Hi, Gretchen. It's wonderful to see you. So it is profound. We've been doing this, as I mentioned it in the beginning, for more than 3 decades. And one of the things that amazes me most is that it keeps going deeper. I think sometimes we feel that we understand something, and we do, but then over time, as we evolve and as we grow, we realize, well, gee, there's actually more to this, or I can feel it. I can really feel it in a much deeper way, rather than being something that is a mental idea, like everything is connected. Yeah, everything's connected. It is so profound. There are indicators of our experience of reality all around us, and of course within us. Recently, I was looking at, and still am looking at, I've been having some problems with my eyes, and so I was looking at that deeper and learning more, going deeper into, of course, your third eye and intuition, and it just is, to me, it's exciting that there's always more to explore. And of course, our reality is showing us what that might be.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a lot of reasons to heal yourself for the growing and learning of it. And I'm just thinking in areas where I've healed myself, it gives me a lot of compassion and empathy for other people who are suffering.
Yeah, it does.
So you're connected with other people much more, rather than being separate or judgmental or not getting why they're having a difficult time.
Right. Yeah. And that's another thing. The illusion of separation. We believe that we're separate from each other. We believe that we're separate from God. Many people feel God has abandoned them, or that there is no connection between them and another reality. But we have to recognize that just because a lot of people, or even the majority of people, even if the majority of people believe something, it doesn't mean it's true.
No.
Objectively, it means that it's true for the majority of the people.
Yeah. And
if
people
it isn't
used to think,
objectively true, go ahead.
Yeah, people used to think the earth was flat, and some people still do, and
that's another
or the sun revolves around the earth and so forth. So there were all these things that, quote, were true that weren't true,
Right. Anyhow, we are never disconnected from our creator. And I didn't realize that until it was some years ago now, but it hadn't occurred to me that it wasn't objectively true. It's not like we can put up some kind of an invisible barrier and say, now I'm disconnected. It's a belief. And it happens to be one that is actually a part of our experience in the third dimension, but we can go further. We can transcend it. And that's what seems like that's one of our challenges now, is to transcend what we believe to be true and recognize that there's so much more. And today, actually, we're going to be focusing the process we're going to do. We're not going to actually go into past lives in terms of actually experiencing that. We're going to do a really simple process that is about miracles. And essentially, spiritual energy, the highest spiritual energy, is love, divine love. And there are also other concepts and words that resonate with it, well, like miracles and gratitude and joy and expansiveness and connectedness. All of those words kind of fit together into a different perspective on reality. Philip is going to draw a card from an oracle to invite one of the enlightened masters to join us and guide us some more today too. And that's another part of it, that we have access to amazing beings of light who are just waiting for us to recognize that they're here and to actually be in a place of genuine desire with pure intent to be able to awaken more to what's true. So Philip is going to.
Yeah. So this, just like there's a lot more to know about spiritual healing, there's a lot going on in the inner planes, including spiritual healing. And so these higher dimensions that are embedded within this experience, if we open to them, they're happening all the time. It's just a matter of accessing them.
Right.
It's like saying I have a door I've never been through. Well, there's something on the other side. You can go through it at any time, and when you're ready, you can go through it, and you're there. So
Right.
let's see what master comes up. Keepers of the Light deck, the Oracle deck by
Kyle Gray.
Kyle Gray, and the master today who will help us with spiritual healing. Lord Shiva, transcendence. Lord Shiva,
Transcendence.
So we're
Well, that
bringing
makes
some
sense.
Indian energy. Whenever I do pick the cards where the Indian masters, Shakti and other Indian masters, they seem, for me, they're very powerful. I've had past lives, speaking of that, in India in the East, so I relate very well to them. So
I have my book here.
what does it say about Lord Shiva?
Are you asking me?
Yeah, if you had your book, you
Okay.
wanted to read about it?
Sure. Rise up, honor your inner force. Steps are being given. Dance with the universe. I like that. Dance with the universe. Shiva is one of India's trinity of male god figures. He is depicted wearing a cobra around his neck, representing his capacity to tame fear or the ego, surrounded by stars, showing his connection to the cosmos, and holding a trident, acknowledging the three aspects of divine masculine power in India: creator, preserver, and destroyer. He is known as the destroyer because of his warrior-like energy and ability to destroy fear. So this is something we can use with our process of destroying those things that are not serving us. He is a facet of the divine father energy and offers paternal protection, support, and guidance. He is also acknowledged as, quote, the cosmic dancer because he helps coordinate the interaction between Earth and the cosmos. He has the capacity to help us to move beyond the fear of failure and into clarity and connection. It's beautiful. And he has a twin flame. Generally, they're acknowledged to have a twin flame, and his twin flame is called Shakti. So they're Shiva and Shakti.
Shiva and Shakti. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, I have communed with this being before and drawing the cards, and extremely powerful. I can do a channeling now or later on it, whatever you think, Jane.
Why don't we do it when we go into the meditation?
Yeah, we'll channel him in the meditation. Okay.
Yeah, that sounds good. Which we're going to do in just a few minutes. I wanted to make a general comment about using an oracle like this, the Keepers of the Light Oracle. If you want to have an opportunity to expand your awareness to include the beings of light who are surrounding you, this is a really wonderful way to do it, is to have an oracle and allow the oracle to show you on a day-to-day basis, or however often you wish, a resource that you have. And you can do that with archangels too. We also work with archangels, and it's a wonderful thing. One of the things I think about them is that if you connect with them regularly, they do lift your vibration. And of course, what we want to do is be in a higher vibration, because it is a space where actually we have look at this, we have access to higher wisdom. He says, yes, this is wonderful. We have access to higher wisdom, and wherever we are, whatever we're vibrating, we're actually drawing more of what's at that vibration to us. So if, for instance, we're in a place where we're experiencing a lot of dizziness or fear or anger or frustration or confusion, whatever it is, we're going to draw more of those kinds of experiences to us. And looking at what I consider, if you state it simply, I consider the reason we're here. When you look at that, it doesn't make sense to be vibrating in a low space. And my simple interpretation of why we're here is we're all here to live fully and to grow in magical and wonderful ways. And living fully means feeling fully alive. And it's interesting. We obviously our approach has a lot to do with love and the heart, with the heart being the center of our being. And it's not a coincidence also then, looking at that the thymus gland, which is associated with the heart center, is our seat of aliveness. So when our energy is down, our thymus gland is shrinking, and our experience of life is shrinking. We're diminishing ourselves, we're diminishing our potential. Whereas if we allow our vibration to rise and to focus on the things that really make us feel alive, then we're in a place where much more is possible. And we're going to do something we call the miracle reframe today, which is why not? Why not be in a place where miracles are your reality rather than war and, and hatred and anger towards others? Why not love and miracles and magic, mystical events, beautiful connections with others, as we feel with the people who are here now and the ones who are going to be here through time and space? We have a choice. I think that's the important thing to recognize. And everything about life is our choice. I think it's beautiful. And these enlightened beings really enhance our experience, I think, on those levels. Philip suggested something else, that if this is new to you, I know there are a lot of people here, it's kind of like we're speaking to the choir here. If you're new to all of this, one way to look at it in terms of our experience of life is that when we're whole and complete, we are love. Our experience is love. Our experience is miracles. Our experience is connectedness and expansiveness. What happens, and I kind of look at it like a spaceship, like when we came down from above into our reality, it's like pieces of ourself broke off. And of course, that's been happening more over time. It's like we have all these disconnected parts of ourselves that no longer understand the truth of who we are and why we're here. And those parts, like the one Philip's part, that became dizzy and disoriented, that part was disconnected from the truth. And when he was able to connect it back in, then it came more into his own beingness, and the symptoms disappeared. And sometimes they're simple, sometimes they're not that simple.
Right. And sometimes the symptoms don't disappear, as we know, and you live with them and you learn with them. You know, some things are more like permanently with you, that are challenges for you to learn and grow from.
Mm-hmm. Or it might take, things seem like they're not ever going to go away, and it might take time.
It may take a while.
My feeling about that is that we exist multidimensionally, and some things are up in the higher dimensions. We can have blocks that are not really associated with our reality here, and those are harder to reach. I think one of the hardest ones for me, and I'm not saying that I'm done, but one that was just extremely traumatic for me was, and it had to do with the sense of smell. I was having some problems. This was years ago, and someone, a practitioner, a spiritual healer, said, well, it has something to do with something doesn't smell right. And he said, you and Philip should explore what that is. So when we had an opportunity, Philip and I sat down and we went into, so I just asked myself, well, what is it that doesn't smell right? And what I saw was the fall of Atlantis, and burning flesh was what didn't smell right. And it was very, very, very traumatic. I think I just screamed and wailed. I was just so traumatized. And it took almost probably 8 years before I was able to get it. And when I did, it happened so magically. I still can't quite understand how it happened. But for those things that haven't cleared, there's a reason why they're still there. and just it's not time yet. Or sometimes with physical, we come with an agreement to have physical deformities, even possibly, that we may not be able to actually clear them, but we can understand them better and we can learn to live with them, because we came with everything that we came for a reason. It's hard to understand sometimes, and, and hard to believe, and then you think, well, why would God do that? It certainly is a mystery. There are many mysteries about life, but there are also many things that we can make sense of. Like if you can't throw things away and your closets are full, and and your trash is kind of piling up, there's probably something that you can do about it. There's probably something that you can learn from it. Do you want to tell them about the woman who did the thing about cleaning our closets?
Right. One of the
This was
holistic
a
EFT
wonderful story.
processes we did a while back, years ago. It was on the lady's issue was cleaning out her closet, i.e. clutter. And we did that, and we connected some inner child issues, and she was good on the other side. And we completed the healing process, the spiritual healing with EFT process. And a couple weeks later, I just checked back in with her to see, what was going on with closets and such. And I said, Carol, how are things going with your life and your closet? She goes, oh yeah, I cleaned out all my closets, and I got a divorce too. So she cleaned out more than just her closets.
Right. Well, and it was that not letting go. It's just fascinating how things are connected when you never would think they are.
Mm-hmm.
And I think it's funny, and it also is very serious. But we find in the program that we teach, that's a year long, people often experience divorces because the energy between the spouses is not actually conducive to their own development. And so that means it's a good thing. It's not to say it's always a good thing, or that we think divorce is funny, or that everybody should get divorced. It is just that we do need to clear out the things that are holding us back if we want to grow. We also have a choice. We have free will. We can do whatever we want, really. I wouldn't recommend a lot of things that people do, but you can see that people function through free will, whether it is in alignment with their soul's growth, or with in harmony with the universe and the creator and the beings of light who are supporting us. Those are different ideas. So the process that we're going to do, but he just wants to stay. He's a keeper today. The process that we're going to do is called the Miracle Reframe with EFT. And it actually is, if you know EFT, it's a very simple process. I think I'll just show you what the points are.
EFT, emotional freedom techniques.
Right. And it's a process that involves tapping on certain acupuncture points. So what you're doing is clearing energy through the meridian system. So it starts tapping on the top of your head, and you do it with a couple of fingers like this, 5 or 10 times. And then the inside of the eyebrow, I do both sides. Some people do one. I figure one is good, two's better. Side of the eyes, below the eyes, below the nose. And if you tap around in these places, you can feel there's a tender spot. That's where the point is. In the chin, then the collarbone. It's hard to see it on me because Buddy's right there. It's right where the two bones almost meet, and a little bit on the underside. And interestingly, if you miss a point or don't get it quite right, it doesn't seem to matter that much. And then tap there, and then hugging yourself on the side of your body. And then we end with something we call the reset process, which is, it's actually not a part of traditional EFT. This is something we do. Tapping first for one beautiful breath on the top of your head, which instills something in your mind if you're changing something, and then tapping across the your chest across on both sides. Again, you're wanting to cover the right and left sides right around your heart area. Taking another breath. And actually just doing that, I can feel the energy flowing. It's really wonderful. And often people associate it, or most often, with clearing out something. Like it might be a fear, it might be anger, it could be confusion, could be anything. So it's like, even though I have this blank, whatever it is. And a good place to start is stress. If you want to tap along with us as we do this, even though I have this stress, and you could think of something that's stressing you, I still can, well, actually, we're going to, usually the second part of the phrase is something like, I still can love and accept myself. What we're going to say is, I know that anything is possible and miracles are happening now. And this is, you usually repeat it 3 times, whatever that phrase is, that it's kind of an affirmation. So focusing, you can start by focusing on something now, maybe something that's causing you some stress. It could be another thing if you want. And what we do is measure the intensity between 1 and 10, with 10 being like, ah! And 5 is in the middle, somewhere in that range, because you want to measure before and after. I think we're also going to go to, this is a spiritual part of it. We're going to imagine going up to a mystical mountaintop and inviting Lord Shiva to join us. Do you think he'll have something to say before the process more, Philip, or after?
Why don't we
Or
do it
both?
after?
Okay. Okay, so I think that we're ready. Did you have anything else to add about EFT? Okay. And this is one of the wonderful things about this, is that anybody can do it. There are no negative side effects, I guess. Occasionally people say maybe they get a little dizzy or something. But you are, at the same time, you are responsible, because it's a self-healing technique. So we're going to start. We're going to do it as a guided meditation. So closing our eyes and breathing in more of that love and light from the universe. Again, releasing anything that feels heavy, because we're going to be rising up to a mountaintop. So we can just release anything that feels heavy. Can be, if you're in stress or whatever, it can feel like wallowing around in the mud. And what we're wanting to do is breathe in lighter energy so we can rise above it. Just imagining ourselves rising up to a beautiful, together too, which is even more powerful when we're together, up to a mystical mountaintop for healing. A beautiful place where Lord Shiva is waiting to join us and to guide us. Just rising safely and beautifully up there. And then there's a place on the mountaintop where we can gather in a circle. And I sense Lord Shiva is above us. We can ask him to bless us with a cascade of beautiful healing light. Now, and as we go through the process, to empower us even more. And then focusing on whatever it is that you were wanting to shift or clear. And we'll start, we're going to start with the affirmation. This is something where there are different ways of doing it, but what I'm going to suggest from a spiritual perspective is crossing your hands and placing them over your heart center. And then we'll say, even though, and you can say it to you, whatever it is, even though I have this stress or whatever it is, I know that anything is possible and miracles are happening now. And if you can say it aloud, that's always helpful. So even though I have this stress, I know that anything is possible and miracles are happening now. Even though I have this stress, I know that anything is possible and miracles are happening now. And then we'll just start the tapping. And as we tap, we're focusing on whatever that is. So this stress, tapping on the top of the head, inside of the eyebrow, stress, side of the eye, stress, below the eye, stress, below the nose, chin, collarbone. And you may notice yourself taking deep breaths, which means that something is clearing. Side of the body. And we can do another round. They're called rounds. Again, tapping on the top of the head, and we're opening now. Opening more to those miracles. Inside of the eyebrows. Side of the eye. Opening. Below the eye. Below the nose. Chin. Collarbone. Side of the body. And then we're ready for the reset. And we're going to say at the head, taking a nice breath, tapping lightly across the top of your head. I know that anything is possible. And on the heart, another beautiful breath. And miracles are happening now. And then just breathing. Allowing yourself to breathe. Just inviting more of that healing light from Shiva, Lord Shiva. And notice how you feel now compared with how you felt when we started. Philip, would you like to, comment or tell us what Lord Shiva might want us to know something?
Okay, let me connect with Lord Shiva and see what he has to say. Yes, it is wonderful to heal yourself on all levels, and that is available to you at any moment. Sometimes, for cosmic reasons, the healing is only partial or only partial, possibly, to get so far, but nonetheless, that is still progress. In fact, even sincerely attempting to heal yourself is progress. You are saying to the universe that I am whole and I can heal and I can be one with you in everything. Breathe that in, that you are whole and you are one and you can be with everything.
It's interesting when you were saying that, it was like I saw him lowering down this blueprint over us, overlaying it like that blueprint for wholeness, which we all have. I just had to say that because it was so interesting when you were saying that he was lowering that down.
So continuing as Lord Shiva here is connecting, that part that is broken or empty or needs healing, that part is lost. It's in search of wholeness. It feels abandoned. It feels disconnected. And yet we know that is not true, although you are experiencing the symptoms on one level. At a deeper level, everything is part of everything else. Even the hurt, injured, broken parts that need repair are still part of the whole fabric. So you can heal yourself. You can bring it love and compassion and direct energy. And sometimes it can be repaired. It can be transformed. You can live anew. And other times you need to live with the disrepair, the brokenness, without full functions, knowing that at a deeper level, you still are whole. And like the wounded healer, the classic myth of the wounded healer, the healer is wounded and can't repair his wound, but can help others to heal theirs. And that may be part of your purpose too, for those listening, that you are to heal yourself if possible, and if not, or if so, to help others in the energy and the learning and the growth and the regeneration you experience. You pass that on for more love and growth in the universe.
Mm.
Thank you very much.
And we can thank Lord Shiva too. And that brought to mind for me another really important point, that our evolutionary journey, the growth, referring to that blueprint, bringing down the blueprint for our wholeness, the journey is built into us. We do have the blueprint within us or around us. You could say around us and in the higher dimensions of ourselves. We have that blueprint for our journey. And we have our soul's intention for this life also that is part of it.
Mm-hmm.
And so we're never without resources. We always have resources. And of course, if you include these beautiful beings of light who can give us guidance along the way, it makes it even more profound. It's also true with EFT. It's EFT, if you are not familiar with it, it was originally presented in the mid 1990s. And many people are aware of it. Many people don't use it as spiritually as we do. And they consider, well, I had this stress, it's gone now, great, I'm done. Actually, that's where the real opportunity begins. The deepest opportunity, when the intensity is down. Then you can just ask, well, what are there any insights for me from your own soul on this? And just ask, what does this mean? If that was there 10 minutes ago and it's gone now, what does that mean? What is possible for you now that wasn't before? What has changed? What might you benefit from doing differently, or being different or thinking differently? What can you gain from this? And it also, EFT is done in rounds. I mentioned we did 2 rounds, one focused more on clearing and another on opening to something new. Sometimes it takes more than that. If you finish the first round and the intensity is down but it's not gone, you can do it again. You can repeat it. So there is a skill to it. But almost anyone could benefit from it. Anyone with an open mind, I would have to say. So being at the top of the mountain still, I see that light, the light of the sun shining down on us, which is our source. And we can just invite that light to shine more down on us. And look out at the expansive view, the glorious world around us. I would notice when the intensity of something releases, the thing that is left is connectedness, it's love, it's unity. So we can focus on that love in our hearts and allow it to radiate out into the world around us, which is the gift that each of us can give to the world. And with that, we'll come back into awareness of ourselves in our chairs. We can bring whatever energy we've gathered from this with us back to where we're sitting, feeling our feet on the ground, connecting to Mother Earth, who also loves us. Sending love there, and she sends her love back. And breathing in more active energy. When you're ready, you can open your eyes. How that felt good.
Mm-hmm.
That was beautiful from Lord Shiva.
Mm-hmm. It was.
So Babs thanked us, and thanks Lord Shiva. And that's another thing I feel personally. I think it's very important to express our gratitude to those beings for allowing us to benefit from what they have to offer. Those are very beautiful, beautiful beings of love and light. Anything else, Philip? Any other comments about that or about EFT?
No, I just have like maybe kind of one concluding thought or connection here. Where you need healing may be part of your soul's plan. What is your soul's plan? That in part is what Jane was referring to as the blueprint.
Mm-hmm.
So there are different levels going on. They're the blueprint for this lifetime, and then your soul's journey throughout time, through past and future lifetime, other dimensions. Then there's a greater blueprint for humanity that many people and soul groups are sharing in. So all of this is interwoven and synchronously connected. So no, it's a very valuable experience. There's nothing wrong with you. It's something that everyone goes through, different challenges on physical, mental, emotional, spiritual levels, which are all connected. And so then it becomes more of an opportunity or a different way of viewing it and embracing it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And I think that's a really important point, that it's not about there being something wrong with us. The belief that we're limited is the illusion. The belief that we have something to feel ashamed of, or that we're not good enough, or that we're flawed, or that we have been that God has abandoned us. That's all the illusion. The truth is, each of us we're all magnificent spiritual beings.
Yeah.
We just don't know it. Most of us don't.
Letting go of those limiting beliefs and being more in the moment, being more present in love.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. So at this time, I generally bring out my globe because this is a gift we can give to the world. If you look at the world, and where there is love, there are there are sparkles of love around the world, and then there are dark areas. And what we want to do is have more of the the lights, more lights around the world, and have brighter lights. So if you imagine the world and imagine more people vibrating love, and then strengthening the power behind it, kind of like amping up your lamp or something, like a lighthouse, like each of us has a lighthouse shining out to the planet. We can each do our part by embracing more love and making it stronger, because then we are it. We are lighthouses. We are shining it out to the world wherever we go. And that, I think, is a gift that anyone can give to oneself too, because life becomes more miraculous as we do that. And so here it is. Looks like we're toward the end. Philip, did you want to tell people about what we're doing at Awakenings Institute?
Yes, we have an upcoming spiritual coaching and healing program online that people very much enjoy. If this relates to you, or you want to recommend it to someone, here's the URL to write down. It's a short URL, tiny.
Yeah, he put a long one in the in the comments, but it can be shortened.
Here's for people listening to write down: tinyurl.com slash HOL coach, tinyurl.com slash HOL coach for our upcoming spiritual coaching and healing online program, which for the right person will be very life-changing and a wonderful experience with a small group of like-minded people.
Yeah, really transforms lives. So, and we've been doing it for decades. It's really wonderful.
Keeps getting better.
Right. Right. And for the circle, you can help to support the circle by following our page on Facebook, which is Awakenings Circle. Is it Awakenings? Yeah. Facebook.com/Awakenings Circle. You can share the video with your friends on Facebook. That would be also helpful, I think, for the overall cause and potentially for them. The more love we can create in our lives, the better the experience. So it's always good. You can also invite your friends to join you in the circle. So the final thing we do is send the love and light that we have collectively gathered, send it forward, and fill your future with it to bring more love and light into your world this week. And of course, you can send some to your past too. Send love to those parts of yourself that had a hard time. And then it's just a matter of having a wonderful week. So, so have a wonderful week, everybody. Babs said, so nice to be with you. Thanks, Babs. Thank you all for being with us and being sources of love and light for the world. Bye-bye.